that little square box. We were fairly started upon our voyage. There was a general rush among the passengers in search of berths. A pile of luggage was lying on one side of the deck, awaiting their turn to be taken below. With my usual love for solitude, I walked behind these and sat on a coil of rope between them and the vessel's side. I was aroused from this by a whisper behind me. "Here's a quiet place," said the voice. "Sit down and we can talk it over in safety." Glancing through a gap between two colossal chests, I saw the passengers who had joined us at the last moment were standing at the other side of the pile. They had evidently failed to see me as I crouched in the shadow of the boxes. The one who had spoken was a tall and very thin man with a blue-black beard and a colorless face. His manner was nervous and excited. His companion was a short, plethoric little fellow with a brisk and resolute air. He had a cigar in his mouth and a large ulster slung over his left arm. They both glanced round uneasily, as if to ascertain whether they were alone. "Well, Mueller," said the taller of the two, "we've got it aboard right enough." "Yes," agreed the man whom he had addressed as Mueller. It was rather a near go. It wouldn't have done to have missed the ship. No, it would have put our plans out. "Let me see it." "Is no one looking?" "No, they are nearly all below." "We can't be too careful where so much is at stake," said Mueller, as he uncoiled the ulster which hung over his arm and disclosed a dark object which he laid upon the deck. One glance at it was enough to cause me to spring to my feet with an exclamation of horror. Luckily, they were so engrossed in the matter on hand, neither of them observed me. From the first moment of their conversation, a horrible misgiving had come over me. It seemed more than confirmed as I gazed at what lay before me. It was a little square box made of some dark wood and ribbed with brass. I suppose it was about the size of a cubic foot. It reminded me of a pistol case, only it was decidedly higher. There was an appendage to it, however, on which my eyes were riveted and which suggested the pistol itself rather than its receptacle. This was a trigger-like arrangement upon the lid, to which a coil of string was attached. Beside this trigger, there was a small square aperture through the wood. The tall man, Flanagan, as his companion called him, applied his eye to this and peered in for several minutes with an expression of intense anxiety upon his face. "It seems right enough," he said at last. "I tried not to shake it," said his companion. "Such delicate things need delicate treatment. Put in some of the needful, Mueller." The shorter man fumbled in his pocket for some time and then produced a small paper packet. He opened this and took out of it half a handful of whitish granules, which he poured down through the hole. A curious clicking noise followed from the inside of the box, and both the men smiled in a satisfied way. "Look out, here's some coming. Take it down to our berth." It wouldn't do to have anything suspecting what our game is, or worse still, have them fumbling with it and letting it off by mistake. And the two men laughed again with a cold, harsh laugh, as they took up the little brass-bound package and concealed it in Mueller's voluminous overcoat. How long I remained sitting on that coil of rope, I shall never know. I tried to recall the words which had been spoken in the terrible dialogue I had overheard. Could these facts lead to any conclusion other than they were the desperate agents of some group who intended to sacrifice themselves, their fellow passengers, and the ship in one great holocaust? The whitish grains which I had seen one of them pour into the box formed no doubt a fuse or train for exploding it. I had myself heard a sound come from it, which might have emanated from some delicate piece of machinery. But what did they mean by their allusion to tonight? Could it be they contemplated putting their horrible design into execution on the very first evening of our voyage? The mere thought of it sent a cold shudder over me. During dinner, a whirl of conflicting ideas was battling in my own mind. What was I to do? Should I stand up now and denounce them before both passengers and captain? Should I demand a few-minute conversation with the latter in his own cabin and reveal it all? For an instant, I was half resolved to do it. But then the old constitutional timidity came back with redoubled force. After all, there might be some mistake. Dick had heard the evidence and had refused to believe in it. I determined to let things go on their course. A strange reckless feeling came over me. I saw the villains heading to the deck after dinner and followed them. I quickly hid myself in one of the lifeboats that was hung over the deck. In it, I could reconsider my course of action, and by raising my head, I could get a view of two men. It was so dark that I could hardly make out their figures. A few of the passengers were scattered about the deck, but many had gone below. A strange stillness seemed to pervade the air. We were to let it off at 10, weren't we? Yes, at 10 sharp. We have 8 minutes yet. They'll hear the drop of the trigger, won't they? It doesn't matter. It will be too late for anyone to prevent its going off. There was a pause here. Then I heard Mueller's voice in a ghastly whisper. There is only 5 minutes more. How slowly the moments seemed to pass. I could count them by the throbbing of my heart. It will make a sensation on land, said a voice. The deck was deserted, save for those two dark figures crouching in the shadow of the boat. Flanagan had a watch lying open in his hand. 3 minutes more, he said. Put it down upon the deck. No, put it here on the bulwarks. It was the little square box. I knew by the sound they had placed it near the davit and almost exactly under my head. A minute and a half more, he said. Shall you or I pull the string? I will pull it, said Mueller. I could stand it no longer. My nervous system seemed to give way in a moment. Stop! I screamed, springing to my feet. Stop, misguided and unprincipled man. They both staggered backwards. I fancy they thought I was a spirit, with the moonlight streaming down upon my pale face. He's mad, said Flanagan. Time's up. Let it off, Mueller. I sprang down upon the deck. You shan't do it, I said. It's no business of yours. Clear out of this. Never, said I. Confound the fellow. There is too much at stake to stand on ceremony. I'll hold him, Mueller, while you pull the trigger. Next moment, I was struggling in the Herculean grasp of the Irishman. He pinned me up against the side of the vessel and held me there. Now, he said, look sharp. He can't prevent us. I felt that I was standing on the verge of eternity, half strangled in the arms of the taller ruffian. I saw the other approach the fatal box. He stooped over it and seized the string. I breathed one prayer when I saw his grasp tighten upon it. Then came a sharp snap, a strange rasping noise. The trigger had fallen. The side of the box flew out and let off two grey carrier pigeons. Here is an extract clipped from its columns shortly after our departure from America. Pigeon flying extraordinary. A novel match has been brought off last week between the birds of John H. Flanagan of Boston and Jeremiah Mueller, a well-known citizen of Lowell. Both men have devoted much time and attention to an improved breed of bird, and the challenge is an old standing one. The pigeons were confined in a specially invented trap, which could only be opened by a spring. It was possible to feed them through an opening in the top. In spite of little difficulty at the last moment, the trap was sprung almost exactly at 10 o'clock. Muller's bird arrived in Lowell in an extreme state of exhaustion on the following morning, while Flanagan's had not been heard of. A few such matches would go far towards popularizing pigeon flying in America.